You know, mm, you ever feel like that we're just running in circles and that we're just never gonna get ahead? I was taught that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, but never getting it. The American dream was always work hard, save your money, get a house, get a good job, get good insurance, take care of your family. Most houses are 400 to half a million dollars now. Most jobs, minimum wage is still 7.25. Most jobs, you probably get like 15. Some jobs are even doing $20 an hour. It's about 36,000 to 40,000. And then with taxes, probably just 30. But you gotta pay car insurance. You gotta pay for the registration. You gotta pay your electricity. You gotta pay your groceries. You gotta pay for your medical. You gotta pay for all this stuff, and leaves you very little to save nowadays, let alone afford a house. They're pushing it to where they want us to rent forever. They're making it so no one can own a house anymore, that no one can own property anymore, that we can't afford our medical bills anymore, that we can't afford our prescriptions anymore. And then people keep voting for these politicians that are so out of touch, and they're all bought and paid for, both sides. And we don't even get they don't even go after white collar criminals anymore. They all do this scandalous stuff. And the Constitution told us that we need to fight that stuff. But I guarantee that if we do, they will label us a terrorist organization, and they'll throw us in jail, and you'll never see your family. They'll take away all your rights. There's no way that we can fight. And something's got to eventually blow, because we can't do this anymore. And now I see why people snap, you know? Not saying I'm going to, but I see why people do. You keep thinking, eventually I'll get caught up. Eventually I'm going to make something of my life. And eventually I'll get this and that. And then I feel bad for the kids now, because all the streaming makes everyone's life look like lavish. And there's a bunch of people that are never going to get that. And it's just a false reality. So I'm begging this next generation. I'm 39. So I'm begging this next generation, don't get brainwashed. Think for yourself. Question everyone and everything. And I'm sorry, not everything can be peaceful. Something's going to have to boil over, and we're going to have to band together and stop this craziness. You got to stop with these crazy leaders. We need younger people in the Senate and House. These old people don't know what to do. They're so out of touch. All these Democrats and Republicans are all bought and paid for. We need lobbying out of Congress. We need no more super PACs. There needs to be public funding, like for these elections. We can't keep letting corporations ruin our lives. We need to destroy them eventually. You know, they basically bought this White House. Why don't no one expects that like a bunch of billionaires lined up to kiss the ass of this president and not expect anything in return or to get some of the stuff that they want? And why do you think what billionaire has ever tried to do anything to help their working people? Now, I mean, you got some. I understand billionaires. They some pay really well, but these corporations like Walmart and now Amazon and all these grocery places that they own everything, and they're basically making it to where the individual doesn't exist anymore. All their planning, like it's just they want it to where we just abide by their rules, work their schedules. We're basically slaves without the whippings. We're slaves to debt now. So you always got to work because you always got to take care of the next bill. And you always got to be able to afford, your medical and your food. And they're taking away any programs that help us. They want us to basically be on the boat that sinks without any kind of raft or floating device. So we got to do better in this. We're Americans, right? We're supposed to be the greatest country of Earth. We don't even take care of our veterans. We cut their programs. Oh man, we we don't want to help poor people. We will help women and children sometimes, but we don't want to help men. They don't get any welfare programs. They should just pick themselves up by their bootstraps. Screw them if they're disabled or mentally ill. We don't need to help those people, right? It's. I'll tell you. I heard a great analogy on the radio. Basically, what the government does is when they see that we get hostile and feisty, they give us a little slice of the cookie, right? Or the cheese. It's like, oh, what we'll do is we'll lower this for a little bit, make them happy. People can go around their lives. We'll lower cost. Oh no, my computer's dying. I need to plug it in real quick. Ugh. We'll lower this for a little bit, or distract them with this for a little bit, or give them a rebate check, or give them stimulus or tax credits, and this. It's like a water valve release. It's like we're not going to totally drown them when we're taxing them and making everything higher and taking away this. We'll we'll release a little bit of pressure to water to fight the fire, but we're slowly gonna do away with this, and they just let it's like a I guess a water valve, not a water. Let's say a gas valve. It's about to explode. We're about to explode. We're pissed, so we release a little pressure on the gas. So people's worries and anxiety and anger get releases a little pressure, and yeah, man. Sometimes I feel like I don't exist anymore. I go to work. I make between 20 to 25 bucks an hour, and I pay my bills, and I'm taxed from the state. I'm taxed from the federal. I have no insurance. The job I have is a small company, so they don't have insurance. I can't afford insurance, and even if I could afford insurance, I couldn't afford the medication probably to pay because of my copay. And I don't see why people would not want people like health coverage is a human right. And the people that don't are selfish and greedy. And for some reason that's rewarded, and that's what capitalism is about. I'm not dissing capitalism totally. I get it. I would like to sell products and make a ton of money and not be taxed to death. Probably like the billionaires. But I mean, if another thing is, people are like, I don't think people understand the difference between a billion and a million, right? It's not just the, you know, million. Like a person that has a million seconds, I think I can't remember the exact time for a million seconds. I believe it was like how long was it? Let me look it up. I know a billion was like 33 years, and a million was not that long at all. Let's see, a million seconds versus a billion seconds. There we go. A million seconds is 11 days, and a billion seconds is 31 to 32 years. A billion seconds is 1,000 times longer than a million seconds, demonstrating the vast difference in the scale. And you got people that have 200 billion, 100 billion, and we make 30,000 a year. I'm not saying we should all be millions of billionaires, but like even jobs that have degrees, they're lowballing and low paying. Like what are we what are we gonna do? There's only so many jobs that so many people can get to make high money. So there's a lot of I know the jobs are like minimal, but they need better pay. At least benefits without all these requirements. I, and then you work so much you just feel exhausted when you get home. You're either tired, exhausted, depressed, and I know they say pull yourself out of that funk. Easier said than done. I've tried the medications. I know this is a long video and people probably aren't even going to watch it, but this is my warning to the next generation. Fight for these vital things and don't let this go. We're like, this generation's weak. We're not doing nothing. We're sucked by entertainment. We're enslaved working. Something's got to give. We either got to just band together and stop. There's more of us than there are of them. And that's what you got to remember. They do control the weapons, but there are more of us than there are of them. And they should be scared of us. They should be working for us, and they're not. We need to stick up for our rights. We need better quality of life, care, money, whatever. Lower prices, and the money's fine. They'll still make tons of money. But that's kind of, how they say, the rights claiming, well, Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. Well, the stock market is a Ponzi scheme because you're basically selling pieces of that company that you eventually got to pay dividends. Now, back in the day, I can understand why you had to, because you needed the startup revenue. But now they don't need the startup revenue. It's and money's not real, but it's real. You know, and gone are the days where we could defend and protect. Like nobody protects us lower and middle class. When this last generation dies out, change the system for the better. Change it to where people can get their health care, where people look out for another. They taught you when you're little to share and to care and do all this stuff when you're kids. But when you get adults, it's like, no, it's every man for themselves. People become selfish and cold, and that's the reality of humanity. They fake this. Oh, we care. We care about veterans. We care about the poor. We care about the immigrants. We care. No, you only care about your fucking self, and that's not a good person. All the like. I find it really hard too for the religious people. This is why you go to church and you read the stories of Jesus, and he's feeding people, and he's healing people, and he's helping people. And there are a bunch of Christians that are like that. But then you have the other side that are they use it to profit, false profit. I think Jesus would be ashamed with most of the preachers and people today. I mean, everyone is a sinner. Don't get me wrong. Everyone is a sinner. But there are a lot more demons and snakes in this world. Everything's a front. As soon as you get past your teens and 20s and out of high school, everything's a front. You don't really find real people in the world anymore. And the people that I knew that are real are dead. They kill anyone that tried to do any good for this world. Martin Luther King assassinated. JFK assassinated. RFK assassinated. Malcolm X assassinated. Abraham Lincoln assassinated. Now they try not to blatantly assassinate people, They're just mysteriously deaths. Mysteriously dead. Everything's a game. This video's already 20 minutes long, but my message: be kind, help people, fight for better things in your life. Don't these town hall meetings where people are sticking up to people, they're tired of this shit. You gotta keep doing it. You gotta keep going there and telling them, fuck you, we're tired of it, you're doing this, you're taking away our programs. I know there's little differences in between, some moral aspects. You gotta put those aside. That's just something to divide us. All of us, whether Democrat, Republican, Independent, we all want the same fucking thing: an affordable house, affordable food, be able to provide for our family, a decent car, a decent job, a decent lover, girl, boy, whatever. We all want the same fucking thing. It's the minor issues that divide us.